We're going to go over a couple of things. There's going to be a proclamation, ribbon cutting, and then most importantly, there's some people I want to thank that we'll do. But first and foremost, I want to thank everybody for being here. For us, the Western Bath Supply Blue Team family, this really is a historic day for us for a lot of reasons. And for everybody to take time out of their busy schedule to be here, it means the world to us. The first question I have to ask everybody is, did you miss walking up the stairs? Hey, I know I'm not going to miss that, but we're definitely not going to miss the trip on the way down. Literally, the trip on the way down. So we built this because we decided to save people's lives. We have Dean Heller's office here. Take.
I'm happy to be here.
Come stand right. Can you hear? Hey.
I'm so happy to be here on behalf of Senator Heller to present to you a certificate of senatorial recognition presented to Western Nevada Supply. Congratulations on the grand opening of the Inspire Kitchen and Bath Showroom. Thank you for providing high quality kitchen and bath decor that will allow Nevadans to make their dream home a reality. Best wishes in all your future endeavors. Dean Heller.
All right.
Mayor of Reno. For grand opening Western Nevada Supply on December 1st, the City of Reno welcomes you to our community and wishes you great success from the mayor.
Thank you. Okay. Now what do we have?
You're good. Cut that ribbon.
Oh, I gotta cut the ribbon.
You get to cut the ribbon.
Who do I cut it with? Hey, Mayor.
That chunk of wood of yours.
Everything's talk about that.
So, this is a true story. I called Gino 2 hours ago. I said, Gino, what are you doing? He said, not much, Rick, what are you doing? I go, well, I wanted to make sure you can maybe come to our grand opening. He said, when is it? I said, it's in 2 hours, Gino. And Gino was here.
I didn't do a proclamation, but I am here personally.
Gino's got another event at 6 o'clock, so we're going to let him literally scoot out of here.
He didn't tell you what I said when he said, I'm speaking at 5:30. I said, good, I got to leave. I won't have to listen to you.
Hey, Gino has done incredible things for the city of Sparks, really all for Northern Nevada.
Yes.
So, we're blessed, Gino, to call you a friend. We're blessed to have you in our community. Thanks for coming here on short notice. That's who you are. And we'd like you to be involved here with this ribbon cutting. They're really sharp. Oh, real
This is just, hold on a second, let people get some pictures.
Oh,
before
pictures.
you- Yeah. All right, let's count down. 3, 2, 1.
Hey, hold on a second. Come here. Off the top. Where's Greg? Where's Greg and Vicky?
Joe.
Greg Higgins.
Joe.
Joe Orlap.
Come on, Joe.
Vicky.
Scunchion.
Big dog. Get in front of the scissors, maybe cutter.
Who are we missing? Sheila? Where's Sheila? Okay. Dan?
Start over again.
All right, and 3, 2, 1.
Okay, you guys stay close. Christine, is any other? You're good. So, the goal. Hey, Uncle Tom.
We're talking politics.
Okay. The goal here was to create something truly amazing. To create a different type of shopping experience. To create an experience that was more than just a feeling of I gotta go shop for some toilets or sinks. To really make an experience. And if you had a chance to go through Inspire Kitchen and Bath, I think we've achieved that. You know, thanks. Our goal was to show our commitment to our community and also all of you. The people that make this happen, it was to build it for the builder, the remodel contractor, for that plumbing contractor, and for the designers, that they truly had a different experience. And through that, our goal was that we would raise the bar for the shopping experience in Northern Nevada. Take a gamble and raise the bar in Northern Nevada. And with that thought, that other businesses would follow and raise the bar. And together, we would all raise the bar in Northern Nevada. The entire shopping experience for all Northern Nevadans. Along the process, we went and toured the country and looked at about 15 kitchen bath showrooms. Along with that, we hired a showroom designer that traveled with us. And we stole a whole bunch of ideas. Why you reinvent the wheel, right? We're Italian. Don't reinvent the wheel. Steal ideas. And so we were able to steal a bunch of ideas, and through the designer, add a lot of ideas, and some of our own ideas. And then we came up with a name, Inspire. And we hope that that name will do exactly what it says, inspire you. So I just want to say thank you all for inspiring us. With that said, I want to go through some things. Well, we had Gino Martini here, and we had Dean Heller's office here. We have one guy that was probably as instrumental in making a major impact on Northern Nevada as anybody I know. Dear friend of mine, friend of my uncle's, friend of our families. And that's Mr. Bob Cashel, the 12-year mayor of Reno, Nevada. Bob. Okay, so, bear with me, I'm sorry. You know, thank yous get long, I'll try to make it fast, but in life, when people do something special and make a difference, they deserve to be acknowledged. So, it all started with, we got in the paint business. We won't go into that, we're in the paint business. We needed to expand the building. We had a building that was built in 1973, metal building, I'm not sure if you remember, it was a year ago, you can see the metal facade, and we needed to expand the paint building. So, there was one guy to call. Local legend, and I'm not saying that lightly, Don Mackey. Amazing projects in Northern Nevada. Got a hold of Don Mackey. And basically had a short conversation with Don Mackey, and Don Mackey did his magic on the paint, and then we redid our facade, because once we redid the paint building, we had to change the facade of the building next door. This building's not here. So Don did his magic, did a great job on the facade. Then, through a couple sketches, couple conversations, I'll never forget the day that Mackey sent over the email, everything's digital now, and opening that baby up and seeing exactly what you see from the outside, and simply saying, wow, that's it. He nailed it. I don't think we made one change. Where's Mackey? So, Don Mackey, the architect for the complete facade, including the parking lot. In this journey, not only do we knew before that Matthew was talented, and he's got a great reputation. What was touching was to find out what kind of human being he is. Kind, gentle, brilliant, and one of the neatest guys I've had the pleasure of working with, Don Matthew. So, and we have a lot of builder friends here. This was one of the toughest decisions that we had to make. You gotta imagine, we're on the supply side. We got a ton of friends, ton of contracting friends, ton of building friends. How in the heck do you pick someone to build a building? How do you make that decision? And some of you may know this, but I'll share with you. I don't want to say it was easy, but the dynamics that drove it was, there was another local legend that lives right next door that started his business in 1964. Same time Western Nevada Supply started, 1964. And that gentleman's name is Norm Deanda.
Yeah, baby.
And his partner was Lawrence Quadrio, who died at a young age. That's the Q&D. And our relationship and family relationship with Norm Deanda goes back to 1964. And there's a strong relationship today. I apologize to other builders that we didn't put it out for bid. We just didn't have it in us to bid this process out and have everybody start beating each other up. We simply talked to Deanda, and Deanda, who has Q&D and Deanda Construction, it was decided from the Deanda family, sitting down with Norm and Chris Deanda and Mike Deanda and Lance Semenko, the COO, sat down with that group and they said, we want Deanda Construction to build this. And they turned us over to a great team. And I know some of the Deandas were here. I know Norm's not here and Chris is out of town. Mike was here. Lance is also out of town. They turned it over to a great team. And the general manager of Deanda Construction, Bob White. Bob, stand up so everybody can see over here. So, Bob White, the general manager, led this project. And then his right-hand guy, Dave Baker. Where's Dave Baker?
Over here.
Where's he? Dave Baker. Dave led the charge on the paint division and the facade. And then here comes this monster. And, you know, in life, you get those guys that you just shake your head and you go, that guy's in the trenches. That's a guy that makes things happen. And that gentleman that led the charge day in and day out was a gentleman by the name of Brian Hewitt. Brian? I can promise you that this is one of the best built buildings in the history of mankind. Brian Hewitt. And all the subs will tell you, he was relentless, but he's flipping organized. He's on it. He's fair. He's detailed. And everything is smooth. This will be all the Reviglios, okay? We're known for goofy remodels. And I always told my dad that I'm gonna write a book about everything you need to know about remodels. And page 1 is gonna be however long you thought it was gonna take, double it. And page 2 is gonna be whatever you thought it was gonna cost, double it. Recently, there's that other one that you guys will appreciate. Probably page 3 is, if you're married, hire a counselor. Anyways, this was the first project in the history of the Reviglios that came in on time, on budget, and not a bunch of crazy change orders, etc. And that's a great compliment to the team that I'm talking about, and the Deanda team, and Brian Hewitt, and Bob White, and Dave Baker, etc. And the Deanda family, and Lance Semenko. Thank you guys. Okay, so you have to imagine this. Now we got an architect and we got a builder, and we're on the supply side. And the last building that we had done around here was this building next door that was built in 1973 by Joe Urlach here, that we're going to talk about later. Joe Urlach. So, and if you know the culture of Western Mass Supply Company, which started with Bill Higgins and Jack Reviglio and Joe Burlap and my Uncle Tom, was take care of the customer. And your energy's got to go to take care of the customers, and not a lot of, like Uncle would say, not a lot of BS. He expands on that. So, with that in mind, we really couldn't be involved when we try to run our business, make sure we got the inventory on the shelf, and we got deliveries on time, we got a team focused on solving problems and saving the contractor time and helping the designers, etc., building a project. So we said, what the heck are we going to do? We need somebody to be interference with the end and ask all, solve the problems that they got to ask every day that happen. So we went to a dear friend in the industry that made our lives, basically kept me from jumping off the roof and the rest of our team, and kept us focused on taking care of the customer, because he was in the trenches all day long with the rest of the team. And that is dear friend Johnny Foley. One of the best moves we made was that day that we said, let's hire John Foley. Thank you, Johnny. Okay, well, now we got all those pieces put in place, but we got a chopped up 3,000 square foot showroom that grew over time. Remember those treacherous stairs up and down and then low ceiling, but it worked. It worked because we had a great team. But it was an ideal shopping experience. So, we needed someone to help us. How does this thing flow? What exactly does it look like? Where do the products go? How do you get that true vibe? How do you get that true experience? So we met with a friend of ours, one of the gurus in the showroom industry, Hank Darlington. And I remember the phone call, and Hank Darlington said, Rick, get a hold of David Hawkins. And we got a hold of David Hawkins, and he flew out. And we went to the Grand Sierra, we sat down, and he laid out a vision of what this place would look like. And sitting there and seeing his sincerity and his passion, and then showing some pictures and designs of what he wanted to do. We, in a simple meeting, as David would say, is, you're the man, you got the job. So David Hawkins, if you want to have a feeling for the job that David Hawkins did, walk in the front door and tell me what it feels like. Take a right or take a left and go around. From the 50 working shower heads to the working kitchen displays, to all the displays, how they're lit and how they feel. That all came together through the design, and all the colors and pieces are through David Hawkins Design. David. David is supposed to be on his anniversary with his wife. God love her. And he, not with her, he's here. But they're going to get that later date, so make sure you change that, David. Okay, here's a part where you're going to thank me, and I have to apologize. All the contractors and all the different people that made this happen. I apologize, I can't name you all. We'd be here all night if I had to name them. But I got to tell you, we have easels. We have easels around here. And I hope that you, with technology today, take your camera and take a picture of the easel of the building team that put this place together. Because next time you need a project done, pull out that picture and look at those names. And those are people that can really make a difference. Thank you to all the contractors and all the people that made this happen. We're beyond grateful. Can't thank you enough. And we hope through your efforts and quality job, there'll be so much more for you with others. So, to the building team, cheers to them. And then, we have all this in place, but guess what? At the end of the day, it's also you can have product. It's also you can come in here and buy shower heads and faucets and sinks and toilets and all the fun stuff. Well, the only way that comes together is through talented manufacturers and quality manufacturers that have been friends of ours for years. Once again, with those manufacturers, I apologize. I can't go down the list on that. So many of you that are here today that have been friends for years. We attribute a huge part of our success to our vendor partners. Thank you for the role that you played in this. The same deal you can see here. We have all of our manufacturer friends that were instrumental in making this happen. Two, so to our manufacturer representative friends that are all here tonight, thank you. Cheers. I don't have 10 more. I know, we're rolling. Okay. Hey, to the blue team. To the blue team, all the employees at Western Mass Supply Company, thank you. To our management team, you got to imagine, this wasn't easy. We basically transformed the campus. There was a lot of discussions. It was hectic. We had to make decisions. There was capital that maybe was going to go in other areas that didn't go to their departments, but came here. So to our management team, to all of our employees, thank you all. A couple of specific people. Lori Baxter, our CFO. Where's Lori? Lori Baxter. So, on day one, we talked about a number. You gotta imagine, after walking through this place. On day one, we talked about a number. So when you're talking to your CFO, it's like talking to the bank. Okay? Actually, the bank's easier to talk to than the CFO. And so you gotta imagine talking to Lori, and you come up with a number, and then our personality gets involved. You gotta imagine what happened to that number. And really, Lori crunching through all these numbers and being on board since day one and knowing what this means to us, our customers, the designers, the builders, and the community, for all the support along the way, Lori. Thank you. Doug Dunn, our operations manager, he's not here. He's out counting because we have inventory. We have inventory starting tomorrow night. Okay, so Doug's out counting. Doug started about 2:30 this morning, which is his regular time. God bless Doug, the whole operations team, helping put this all together. So thank you to Doug and the team. Gina Mitchell and the IT team. Gina, thank you to your entire team. Hey, IT, I can't even barely spell it. I have no idea how they do it. We just all bitch when it's not working. And this has been flawless. So, to Gene and the entire team, thank you for you in this process. Okay. Now, there's a couple more. There's a lady by the name of Christine Hogan. Christine Hogan is our business manager. She's my right hand, left hand, and a couple other things. She's probably in counseling from dealing with me and doesn't tell me. And I promise that there's not one element in this entire showroom that Christine was not involved in at some level. And that enabled me to focus on something else as she was dealing with all the craziness over here. And anybody in our company knows the role that Christine plays for all of us and what she meant in the success of this all the way up till tonight. Thank you for being who you are, Christine. Okay. Thanks for making my life a lot easier. Okay, showroom team. Where's the showroom team? Put your hand up here. Okay, now, our showroom team. We got Stacy Larson back there. Stacy. Thanks, Stacy. Marie West. You can hold applause here. Marie West, who started on our paint from Supply One, worked on our plumbing counter all the way up through the showroom, and still with us today. We've got Phil Yeager. Here. Phil Yeager. Thank you. Katie McDonald. Katie McDonald. Bill Graffis. Bill, newest member on our team. Bernadette Duckett. Where's Bernie? Where's Bernie? Hey, Bernie, that beautiful face you see when you walk in, that charming smile, thank you. Now, there's two I gotta spend just a little bit more time on, but it's a great story. So, we're 20 years ago, we need some good quality showroom help. You keep hearing this name about this lady by the name of Gina Novicheski. Don't ask me how to spell that name. So if you want to know how to spell, here's how I spell Novicheski. I go to the computer, I pull her name up, and then that's how you spell it. So, Gina Novicheski, true story. So I hear Gina might not be happy where she is. So I call up Gina. We meet. And Gina says, you know, this company's just really not investing in the showroom. I said, well, let me tell you, Gina, we're going to build a new showroom. This is 20 years ago. 20 years ago. I said, Gina, don't worry. You come on our team. We're going to build you a new showroom. Well, Gina, I'm 20 years late, but we made it happen, right? Gina is as good as anybody in the United States of America. We're blessed to have her on our team. I'm glad that I was able to fulfill the promise here. Gina. You know, on a project like this, I stumbled on this, if I should say this, but the reality is, should you pick an MVP? And if we were forced to pick an MVP, nobody would argue with the person that we would pick. And the MVP of this entire project is a gentleman by the name of Jeff Mecca, our showroom manager. Jeff weighs 130. By the time we were moving product in, he was down to 110. Pretty close. You know, anybody that was associated with this project would tell you, I can't believe Jeff Mecca. Jeff Mecca knew where every product was going in this 8,000 square foot showroom 6 months before it was done. He was completely organized. He had binders this thick with all the details. He communicated with the manufacturer's rep. He communicated with David Hawkins and Don Mackey and John Foley. And if there's any questions, get with Jeff Mecca. Jeff, I'm glad you survived. I'm not sure how to appropriately thank you. All I can tell you, the entire team, including me, we're incredibly proud of you, Jeff. Thank you. We're wrapping it up. Hey, does everybody have a drink? So, few people here. Quick story that some of you may not know, but why this is so special, okay? In 1964, come here, Joe. Come up here. In 1964, there was a guy by the name of Bill Higgins who was working for Acme Plumbing Supply here in Northern Nevada. And he had a best friend by the name of Joe Erlach. And Joe Erlach said, Bill, what the hell are you doing? You're too good to be doing this for somebody else. You gotta go do your own supply house. And it was because of Joe Erlach that Western Nevada Supply came to birth. And Joe Erlach convinced Bill Higgins, and Bill Higgins called a buddy of his who was working for a supply house in the Bay Area by the name of Jack Reviglio. And Jack said, start a plumbing supply house. Hell, that's crazy. So Bill called his brother, Jack's brother, Tom, my Uncle Tom. And then Uncle Tom went into one and called his brother Jack up and called him a whole bunch of names that I can't repeat here. True story. And long story short, Jack left the Bay Area, came up here, and through the efforts of Joe Erlach and a couple other folks, and my dad Jack Reviglio and Bill Higgins, Western Nevada Supply was born in 1964 in a mini warehouse down the street. A couple years later, they moved to another facility. Uncle Tom, who was going to the University of Nevada selling fire extinguishers, they said, Bill and Jack said, hey, we got to get Tom when he's in Ely and Elko and all these areas to call on the plumbers. So Tom was doing that. Well, after X amount of years, Tom was making more money on commission than Bill and Jack. So they had to rework the plan, and they just said, well, the new plan is you're one of the owners, and here comes Tom Reviglio. Well, Bill and Jack did plumbing. I can't really say how this went, but Tom one day went in their office and said, tractors. Anyways, he said there's this niche for underground utility. And that's how we got involved in underground utility. And so through the efforts of Joe Erlach, Jack Reviglio, Bill Higgins, Uncle Tom, is how it all started for where we are here today. Now, along the way, when we built the building next door, Joe Erlach, the last time we did a building, Joe Erlach built the building next door. So not only did he have the idea, but he built the building next door. And Joe, anyways, Bill died. Bill Higgins died the week before they moved into that building. He was never able to see it. However, the Higgins family is family. Okay, where's Hey, Doug, come here. Greg Higgins, who's a huge part of our family and our team, and his sister, Vicki Higgins. Vic, come over here. So, Greg and Vicki Higgins, you know, if you want to know what Bill is like, you hear one of the sweetest guys you'd ever meet, just like Greg Higgins, one of the neatest guys you'll ever meet, and Vicki. Auntie Ivy passed away here recently, greatest lady ever. So, the Higgins family means a ton to us, and they're a part of the success as much as any of us. So, Joe Erlach, here's the Higgins. I mentioned my Uncle Tom, and my Auntie Vicky's here. But it was my Uncle Tom that was involved in this thing really from the beginning. And a big part of our customer service success. All of us today thinking about customer service, we think about Uncle Tom and take care of the customer. He had a huge part in the culture of what we still have today. He's actually a classified genius because he got out in 2006. He's absolutely right because I was the dumb nephew, and as I sat there in 2007 and 2008, 9, 10, 11, I definitely knew that I was the dumb nephew. And anyways, we're blessed to have the family that we do. We're blessed to have Uncle Tom and Auntie Vicki and their involvement through this. So here's my Uncle Tom and Auntie Vicki. Now, we're at the end. We're at the end. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that took so long. Like I said, there's some things that just need to be done. There's one final one. There's one final person that I want to acknowledge, her family. This will be hard. So, that would be my father. I didn't cry at his funeral. I held it together through the eulogy. I cried at his funeral, but I held it together through the eulogy. Anyways, a couple people said, man, your dad would be so proud. And then Bernie told me that she had a dream that dad was standing right here last night. So I'm sure he is. So, to my dad, who had the guts at age 26 with Bill to do this, paved the road for us. Yeah, we've been through some trials and tribulations, but we didn't have to start a company from scratch. And so to my father, Jack, one of the greatest guys, you know, that you'll ever meet. Sorry he couldn't be here, but I know he's here. And then my mother, the same as Auntie Vicki, they were widows. Truly for all those years, they were widows, take care of the family, as the husbands were building a business. And so, to my mom, for being an amazing support to our family, for teaching us the fundamentals of life, about being kind, doing what you say you're going to do. It was never about anything else besides being a good human being and being kind. And that was, my dad lived it, my mom preached it, and lived it. So, to my mother, and to my sister, who's not here, she couldn't be here, and then to my brother Ted, Mom, so, Mom, You don't have to stand up for long. My mother, hey, just so you know, my mother said, "Are you going to talk?" And I said, "Yes, Mom." She goes, "Are you going to stand on something?" Yeah, I love you, Mom. So, yeah. So, to my mother, to my brother, sister, and father, there's no drama in the family. A lot of businesses, there's a lot of drama. Family business, there's a lot of drama. There's no drama. We're absolutely blessed. Everybody knows their role. Everybody does their role. We all play different roles. But we're all equal. And so, in closing here, I sure hope I didn't miss anybody. And I feel bad that there's some people I'm looking at that deserve special recognition. But if I start there, we'll go on forever. So, this is what this is all about. This is about doing something different in Northern Nevada. This is about raising the bar. We can't do it without this group of people, and that is the plumbing contractor, all the plumbers, the building contractors, the remodel contractors, the designers. All those folks are the only ones that can make this happen. And we promise you, it's part of our culture since day one. When you come here, you have a shopping experience, and you make a purchase, we promise that a piece of that goes back in the community. It's been part of the culture, as Joe will tell you, Bill, Uncle Tom, Jack, Mom, we'll give a piece back to the community. That's our promise. So, to those plumbers, to those building contractors, repair contractors, to the designers, thank you for your support. Thank you for the love. We will continue to inspire you. Thank you for inspiring us. Everybody have a wonderful night. Hey, leave it to my mother, okay? So my mother said, I won't go into this story. My sister would kill me. Kat would kill me. Anyways, I'll just do this. My mother asked me, okay? Someone's gonna be really mad at me. But anyways, I graduated, grew up here, graduated, went to St. Mary's College, and at St. Mary's College, I fell in love with this hot redhead. And anyways, truly a beautiful, beautiful woman. We dated 6 years. I was a dumbass because I had the best gal, but I was macho and not going to get married. So we dated the 2 years at St. Mary's and the 4 years I went to work for Grinnell, a plumbing manufacturing company. 6 years. Then I moved back to Reno, Nevada, and I said, "Cap, are you coming?" And she said, "No." And so I begged her, I groveled, we hugged, and I never saw her for 21 years. Anyways, 21 years went by, and I met a nice lady and got married and had 3 boys, 3 great boys. And she was a widow also, and we went through tough times, and we went through a divorce. And 2.5 years after that divorce, I was with the Hig Dog and Joe DeRico and Danny Marin at a Giants game, and we ran into Kathy DeVolio, my sweetheart from college, his sister. Well, through that, we reconnected, and we've been together 2.5, 3 years. And so, last week on November 22nd, was 30 years from the date that we met and fell in love. So 30 years later to that date, last Tuesday, I asked Kat to marry me. And so, Kat. Is that okay? All right. We have through all of our manufacturing friends, we have a ton of prizes. We got raffle tickets. There's a board out there. Check the board. We're not going to go through the whole deal. So, stay and eat, stay and drink, stay and mingle. Thank you for making a difference in our life. We'll continue to make one in yours. God bless. Have a great evening. Hey, holy moly. They're very